Ever since Barney and Friends debuted in April of '92, people have debated its educational merits, with some arguments being made in worse faith than others. Story for another day. A pretty unavoidable quote in both the greater fandom and in dozens of publications over the years is this one, the one about the show essentially being a perfect model for its target demographic. That comes straight from a team of researchers at Yale. Yes, that Yale. As funny as the idea of a bunch of serious graduate students and their professors sitting down to rank Barney episodes is, the first of not one, but more than 20 eventual studies on the show were carried out to get some actual literature on just how educationally jam-packed Barney and Friends was. The first phase of their first study was submitted to Connecticut Public Television on August 8, 1993, and focuses on the first season of the show. It is important to note that CPTV did commission this study to the tune of about $40,000, but the singers are quoted saying that this did not influence their decision, and that to do so would damage their reputation. Seeing as CPTV was a co-producer of Barney and Friends, it's not exactly unreasonable for them to want solid proof of just how educational the show was. How did this study work? The singers and their team of 5 would watch each episode and identify the amount of teachable moments, like new vocabulary, numbers and shapes, etc. The more meta-emotional side, pro-social behaviors, cultural and imaginative elements, and how many there were per episode. These instances would be added up across the various educational categories and averaged out amongst the team to then rank the episodes from most to least learning moments per show, thereby finding which had the most early learning potential. The winner? The Treasure of Rainbow Beard by a long shot. What I think is the most interesting about this choice is that it kind of mirrors the fandom's opinion on it. If it isn't a lot of folks' favorites, it's definitely a quintessential early Barney episode. All of the curriculum is totally in line, but it blends in great with the adventure and imagination aspects perfectly. Plus, it's got some classic Barney quips, and it's fun seeing Stephen White as Rainbow Beard himself. Further adding to the Rainbow Beard hype train is that it's also at the top of the resident educators on the series' best episode list. While this list, put together by Dudko and Larson, who you may recognize as the authors to dozens of Barney books, does differ a little bit between the Yales, the top spot remains the same. You can really see why they decided to play this one at the Barney and Friends world premiere event. While the main focus of the study was, of course, to pick out the educational merits of the show, it does actually do some anti-Barney bashing footwork. According to the study, and in spite of the many claims that the show was one-note and overbearingly happy, Singer and co. were able to identify that there were more than a few, averaging about 3 to 4 instances an episode, moments of disappointment or challenges the characters work through. Of course, these emotions are portrayed for a very young audience and may not read the same to adults, but it doesn't mean they weren't there. On that note, the only emotions the team identified as being hardly ever present are jealousy and envy, which makes sense when Barney and Friends is supposed to be a safe learning environment where kids can work through emotions along the way. Another interesting part of the study is this suggested episode subject list the researchers included. Looking through it, you can see what later seasons and episodes decided to tackle and what not to tackle from this list. I'd be curious to see how many actually originated here or just kind of occurred to the writer on their own. The imaginary playmate suggestion is a little funny considering what Barney is. While this is just the first phase of a study, as I mentioned previously, it's really nice seeing the show analyzed by actual professionals who were able to definitively say that, yes, this show is entertaining, but it's not this vapid, substanceless, low-effort production. Dorothy Singer is cited as saying, quote, "Barney is not a poorly done show. It's a carefully thought-out show with a lot of teaching elements in it. Our data is showing that," unquote. This take, which emerged during the really early and probably the most vitriolic era of straight Barney slander, clearly did its job in proving to CPTV why Barney and Friends was different and why it mattered. It's easy to cram a bunch of learning material into a half-hour program, but it's much harder to develop a safe environment and character that the audience can fully become immersed in. Barney's not just a teacher, and he's not just a friend. He's what you imagine him to be. And who better to start learning with than a dinosaur from your imagination? If you'd like to read through the full 54 pages of this first phase analysis, you can check it out on the Barney History Fans blog and see how the series earned its model TV show status. And as always, if you're looking to learn more, don't hesitate to check out my friends at Barney Wiki and Barney History Fans. Thanks for watching.